Have you ever wondered how some of the world's most electrifying footballers almost vanished from the spotlight before their careers even began? Imagine a parallel universe where Erling Haaland never bulldozed through defenders, or where Kylian Mbappé remained an anonymous teen who never got the chance to shine. Hard to believe, right? But in reality, these icons we know so well were once overlooked, snubbed, or outright dismissed by top clubs, for reasons that might leave you scratching your head. Today, we're diving into 7 of the most astonishing stories of players who faced rejection before achieving mind-blowing success. Whether it was because of bizarre contract demands, ridiculous scouting prejudices, or simple lack of foresight, each of these future legends overcame a major thanks, but no thanks from a powerhouse club. And if that sounds dramatic, trust me, it's only the beginning. By the end of this video, you'll see how easily the footballing landscape could have shifted if a few fateful decisions had been made differently. So buckle up, because these stories aren't just about missed opportunities. They're about how determination, raw talent, and a dash of destiny can reshape the beautiful game as we know it. Few names in modern football strike fear into defenders quite like Erling Haaland. Standing well over 6 feet, with the pace of a sprinter and the finishing instincts of a seasoned predator, he's made a habit of shattering records and humiliating goalkeepers. But believe it or not, this Nordic goal machine nearly wore the red of Manchester United back in 2019. And not just because of random rumors. The club's then manager, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, had personally coached Haaland during his early years at Molde. Their bond was strong, the talent was obvious, and many believed a deal was all but guaranteed. Here's where it gets messy. The final word fell to Ed Woodward, a figure known among United fans for some puzzling transfer antics. Worried about the hefty fee demanded by Haaland's agent, Mino Raiola, and spooked by talk of a release clause that might undervalue Haaland if he exploded onto the scene, Woodward walked away at the last minute. The result? Haaland packed his bags for Borussia Dortmund, immediately lit up the Bundesliga, and left Manchester United fans cursing the day their board hesitated. If you're a United supporter, you know that uneasy feeling. The dream of having a generational striker slipping right through your fingertips. But wait, it gets worse. Long before the Red Devils drama, another Premier League outfit had their hands on Haaland for a bargain that now sounds like an absolute joke. £60,000. That's the rumored figure Everton could have paid for Haaland's services back in 2016, at a time when he was just a towering teenager at Bruyne FK in Norway. According to whispers from the scouting department, the official reason for rejecting him was that, in their words, he was too big, too early. Once everyone else caught up physically, he'd lose his edge. Let that sink in. They saw an unusually tall youth and concluded his physical advantage was some sort of fluke. Fast forward to the present, and we see Haaland still out-muscling grown men and making a mockery of that bizarre prediction. Kevin De Bruyne's career arc feels like something out of a football fairy tale. He starts at Genk, shows flashes of brilliance, catches the eye of Chelsea, then finds himself underappreciated by Jose Mourinho. He heads to Wolfsburg, turns into the assist king, and eventually blossomed into one of the Premier League's finest players at Manchester City. Yet behind that success story, there's another path seldom discussed, one that nearly landed him at Bayern Munich. A few years after De Bruyne's frustrating experience at Chelsea, he was lighting up the Bundesliga with Wolfsburg. Suddenly, the big dog started to circle. Manchester City was calling, PSG had an eye on him, and according to his representatives, Bayern Munich also showed substantial interest. Picture it, De Bruyne orchestrating the midfield at the Allianz Arena, delivering pinpoint passes to Robert Lewandowski, controlling matches with the calm swagger we see weekly in the Premier League. In the early 2010s, few people outside of Egypt had heard the name Mohamed Salah. He was simply a promising teenager playing for Egyptian side Al Mokhloun, dreaming of a breakthrough in Europe, often described as lightning quick with an incredible work ethic. Salah stood out enough that some scouts had begun whispering about his potential. One of those clubs was Newcastle United, a Premier League side that even back then was no stranger to eyeing talents from around the globe. The idea was straightforward. Bring Salah in on a season deal, allow him to adapt, and watch him blossom into a top forward. Newcastle, for their part, needed new attacking options, especially someone with flair and raw pace. By all accounts, it seemed like a match made in heaven. But at some point, the interest cooled. No official offer came through and no personal terms were arranged. The reason? It's tricky to pin down. Some say the club's hierarchy balked at trusting a young, relatively unknown winger from Africa. Others believe management hesitated because they wanted an immediate solution, not a project who might need time to settle. Yes, you read that right. Kylian Mbappé, the man who led France's national team to World Cup glory, scoring goals in final matches, it's the easiest thing in the world, was once brushed aside by Chelsea because, get this, they didn't think he could defend. Cast your mind back to 2012. Mbappé was just a 14-year-old phenom training at local club AS Bondi, where his speed, technique, and dribbling were already mesmerizing coaches across Europe. He got a trial at Chelsea, a dream for many kids, but their coaching staff apparently concluded that this teenage wizard lacked the defensive output to justify a signing. That might be the most misguided piece of scouting in modern football. It doesn't stop there. Fast forward to 2017. Mbappé was lighting up League One with Monaco, waltzing through defenses and racking up astonishing numbers for someone barely out of his teens. Barcelona had a chance to grab him, especially with Neymar leaving for PSG. The logical replacement? A speedy young forward ready to blow up the global stage. Except Barca decided that Ousmane Dembélé was a better fit tactically because, quoting reports, he opened the field more. Imagine a teenage Cristiano Ronaldo, scrawny but oozing raw talent, stepping onto Arsenal's training ground. Picture him shaking hands with Thierry Henry, his childhood idol, while Arsène Wenger looks on approvingly. This scene isn't mere fantasy. It happened in real life. In early 2003, when Ronaldo was still lighting up the Portuguese league at Sporting CP, Arsenal scouted him extensively. Wenger, known for his knack for spotting young prodigies, was reportedly this close to securing a deal. Ronaldo even visited the club, tried on an Arsenal jersey, and left fans drooling over the possibility of him and Henry terrorizing defenses together. So what went wrong? The Gunners hesitated when it came to finalizing the transfer fee. The cash demanded by Sporting Lisbon felt steep for a teenage winger who was unproven outside of Portugal. Meanwhile, the red half of Manchester had no such qualms. They matched the fee, offered the boy a path to stardom, and the rest is well-documented history. Ronaldo went on to win multiple Ballon d'Ors, Champions League titles, and became one of the two greatest players of his generation alongside Lionel Messi. When football fans talk about Alphonso Davies these days, they often mention his blistering runs down the flank, his fearless defending, or that eye-popping performance that helped destroy Barcelona 8-2 in the Champions League. However, this same Alphonso Davies was once on Barcelona's radar, only to be dismissed in a way that might make your jaw drop. A few years ago, club legend Hristo Stoichkov reportedly tipped off then-president Josep Maria Bartomeu about a young Canadian tearing it up in MLS. The message was straightforward. This kid is special. You might want to keep tabs on him. But as the story goes, Bartomeu shrugged it off, allegedly citing Davies' nationality as a reason to be skeptical. The logic? Since when do world-class superstars come from Canada? Marcus Rashford is a name that resonates far beyond the football pitch. His philanthropy, especially regarding child food poverty, has earned him honors off the field, and his consistent ability to pop up with crucial goals in high-pressure moments has endeared him to Manchester United fans worldwide. But if things had gone a little differently, Rashford might have been celebrating in light blue rather than red, assuming he even made it to the top at all. When he was just 8 years old, Rashford spent a week training with Manchester City's youth setup. Coaches watched him adapt to different drills and attempt to showcase his knack for dribbling and finishing. By that time, he was no longer a goalie. Yes, he started out as a goalkeeper. He had already begun to show glimpses of the pace and precision that would become his trademarks. But the verdict from City's scouting team was merciless. He was too small, too physically underdeveloped to compete with older or bigger kids. And there you have it. 7 jaw-dropping stories of future superstars turned away by big clubs for reasons that range from mildly misguided to downright absurd. Think about how each of these rejections could have rewritten football history. Perhaps Erling Haaland would be Manchester United's record-breaking marksman. Maybe Kevin De Bruyne would have spent his golden years orchestrating Bayern Munich's midfield. Or Mo Salah might have skyrocketed Newcastle to new heights. We will never know.